go screaming to the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, taking off without the same mistake. Darling, when you go away, it won't be as simple for you.
Yo, guys, Old Man G, RDS here, back again with another weekly Q&A. Hopefully everyone's doing well on this lovely Friday evening. Again, it's weekly, it's Friday, relaxed, chilled, etc. That's the point of the show. I wish it could be more optimistic and be more positive on normal circumstances, but to be honest, we've got a lot of not particularly great news to talk about when it comes to Manchester United. Obviously, this is also a Q&A. We're going to be talking about the Luke Shaw injury. We're going to be reacting to Ten Hag's press conference. There's going to be a bit of a preview for the Forest game, obviously, tomorrow. And then, of course, like I said, I'm answering anyway, any of your questions that you come in related to Manchester United or, other football teams or even just other stuff out general, So this is fundamentally a Q&A. It's relaxed, a chilled show. Apologies for those with Tom. Tom unfortunately can't make it because he's got an appointment, so he can't make it today, unfortunately. But I have got some stuff from Tom. So if anyone has any specific questions regarding transfers and things and stuff like that, I should be able to deputize in his stead. So because he's passed on some good information to me, which hopefully will be quite useful. It's not positive, I'll be honest, but for those who want to ask, I can do it. So let's just see who's in the chat. Let's see what we're doing. Good evening, Rob, man. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Evening, Matthew. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Big up, RDS, and even in the chat. You need to come back on the show, by the way, Matthew, at some point, so it'd be good to have you back on, actually. Temesgen says, aside from Cristiano Ronaldo, Greenwood was the best player that uses the left fighting for League. United lost a diamond to make matters worse. Well, I mean, that's for the club. That's for the club now. Shout out to my one in the chat as well. And Samasi, who's a member, says RDS, he is. Jude Bellingham is doing well. I mean, you got to remember, United fans, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted Jude Bellingham from Birmingham. I still remember to this day, it was between us and Dortmund. And I look back, to be honest, and I think about these things. I'm thinking like, what you have to ask the question. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland for Manchester United. And both players, one was Norwegian, the other one's English, both players chose Dortmund. And obviously, one is at Manchester City, scoring goals, and one is at Real Madrid now. So we can scout. This is what people understand. We can scout players. The amount of players that we would really link to, even Ole wanted. However, why did they choose Dortmund? Why they choose to go to Dortmund instead of why? Because in their eyes, they saw that Dortmund could develop them over Manchester United. And that's the question. And that's when you have to talk about the facilities. You have to talk about the training methods. You have to talk about all these different things. Like, you go around and take them around Carrington and stuff like that. But as CR7 said, if the place hasn't changed in 10 years, what is there to allure young players? What is the evidence there to say, listen, I'm a young player. I'm going to develop a Manchester United and become a big dog. Apparently, it's not there because we can't compete with Dortmund. And there you go. So it is what it is. I don't really expect United to be... I'm not sure what that is from 1-4 level. I assume you mean just great. Is every player? Well, we're going to talk about that. Well, we're going to, in fact, let's get into it, man. Let's just get into it. Obviously, the main thing about the main topic before we obviously But by all means, like I said, ask your questions as well. But let's just get into it now because this injury situation is a joke right now. Um, for anyone who's been living in a rock for the last 24 hours, Luke Shaw basically has picked up what seems to be a muscular injury, um, and he's going to be out for according to reports, he's basically going to be out for longer than Mount is going to be out for. And given Shaw's history of injuries in the past, I'm predicting that Shaw is not going to be back until at least the end of October because Mount is not going to be available until probably after the international break, at a minimum. So Luke Shaw probably, I think, was not going to be out until middle to probably late October. If that. That's a huge blow. Whatever you think about Shaw, we don't have Malassi, who's also injured, but he'll be coming back earlier. So United's fullbacks are basically Dallo and Wan-Bissaka, and that's it. And bearing in mind, people were thinking of selling Wan-Bissaka in the summer. So we now have a situation where, we are effectively weaker than we were at the beginning of last season. Yes, we need to sell players, but the key is we need to sell players and replace them. And much like when we sold all those forwards, when we sold Cavani, when we sold Lingard, when we sold Mata, when we sold Pogba, well, not Pogba, Pogba, all these different players, the reality is that we didn't replace them. We let Fred go, midfielder. Cool. Have we signed another midfielder? Have we replaced Fred? Mount is not a replacement for Fred, in my personal opinion, and now he's injured. So we've sold a midfielder, we bought one who's not really a replacement, and is now injured. So we're now down, and we're thinking of selling McTominay. We still are, according to reports, thinking of selling McTominay if we can get money in, because we can't go and buy Amrabat or any other player without selling. So United are in a bit of a mess here, a really, really big mess. Scott McTominay's time to shine. We all know he has the kibble to become better than Xavi and needs to combine. I just hope Ten Hag sees this and plays him against the mighty Nottingham Forest. The funny thing, Don Ragnar, is that I suspect he's not going to play against Forest. I genuinely believe that Ten Hag is going to, even though I don't think this is going to work because midfield will be unbalanced. I actually think he should play Casemiro, McTominay, and Bruno. I think that will be a bit balanced, but I actually think he'll play, and we'll talk about it in a preview, but I suspect he'll go back to the midfield of last season, Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno. That's actually what I think of that. But I don't think Eriksen can play for 90 minutes, so I don't know. We lost out on Haaland because John Murta got time zones wrong. Wouldn't be surprised there. Showcut counts if Qatar buys. These are the questions coming in. If Qatar buys United, do you think Vince Foster coming back to? No, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. He won't play for Manchester United again. What are the chances we sign or sell anyone before the window closes? I mean, I think Matthew answers the question. I think that actually might be a question, answer to the question, because the looks, Tom has essentially said it's not looking good. Is basically what he said or alluded to anyway. The reality is that Manchester United need to sell before they can buy. I guess the best way to think of it is just think of it of we're in the same situation that we were in January. We didn't buy anybody in January. We got 2 loan deals. So that's where we are with United. We can potentially get loans, or we can buy players. But we need to sell. We need to sell first. That's basically where we are. So, or cheap 1-year contract deals, etc. So for example, reports are hearing that we're going to give Johnny Evans a 1-year contract. Again, players out of contract. Bertrand again. So those types of, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, those are the types of signings that we're going for. If we can't sell any players, and it looks like we can't because United seem to be terrible when it comes to selling players. Sorry, that's all we can do. I mean, to be honest, guys, like, people, I don't know what it is because uh there's a lot of people against it, but like, I wouldn't even mind taking Lukaku back on loan. I wouldn't. I generally wouldn't mind taking Lukaku back on loan. We need a strong. We need, like, if there's three things that United need by the end, is that we need a wow, okay, now we need a fullback, we need a striker, and we need a midfielder. Those are the three signings that we need. And we need to get them somehow. But at least, I guess, in midfield, you can basically try and convince Van der Beek to play somewhat for a year. Give him game time, give McTominay game time, and then that's it. And then we'll have to make do. Left fullback, we need, just because we're in dire straits right now. But for me, we need a striker. Martial is injury prone, and not reliable. And Højlund apparently is just fit injury. I don't know. So we need a striker. And if I was United, I'd be ringing up Chelsea and being like, we'll cover half of Lukaku's salary. We'll take him on loan at the very least until January. Take it from there. Until maybe we signed Ivan Toney in January or something like that. But we definitely need a striker, because we can't just specifically rely on, as much as people hate Rashford's not a number 9, so it is what it is. But yeah, this it's worrying, but he's not joking, unfortunately. What's the matter with Manchester? Yes, of course it's about money. Like I said, guys, the situation in Manchester United is that United need to sell to buy. We're in the similar situation as we were in January. Okay, so any deals that Manchester United are going to do, I suspect, I mean, I'm hoping to be wrong, they're going to be loans. Hence why we're hearing about Johnny Evans and Bertrand, who's basically not played in, I think, 2 years. I can't remember the last time Bertrand actually played. Those are the signings that Manchester United can get. Affordable signings. That's it. That's it, unfortunately. It's sell to buy now. Unfortunately, players don't want to leave, or teams that want to pay. Exactly. So we're hoping that maybe, do West Ham come in for another bid for McTominay? I don't think so, now that they've confirmed Mohamed Kudus or a centre-back. We had the opportunity to sell them both for a combined 60 million. We didn't. And now we're paying the price, because we could have used that 60 million, in my opinion, to sign an Amrabat and maybe even another player, maybe a left back, Manchester United players should sell their bathwater to top bread to generate funds to TM and a ball carrier. Well, I don't disagree with you, Don, man. I really don't. United in so much trouble. Yeah, we'll talk about the team going forward. But I mean, I don't know what the chat obviously thinks, but my expectations for this. Well, I didn't have any expectations for the season anyway, but right now I don't have any. I'll be honest. I really, really don't have any. I don't even expect Manchester United. I predicted us top 5th last season, given what we did in the summer, and we got 3rd, so fair enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict us 7th this season, and hopefully we get 5th. That's basically what I'm doing, because based on this transfer window and based on what I've seen other teams do, I generally don't know how United. We definitely aren't going to compete with City. City are on a completely different level. Arsenal have improved, whatever you say, they have, and they're consistent anyway, and they play well. Newcastle are not going anywhere, and also have improved. Their midfield is far better than us. I mean, if you go through the midfielders and you're like, right, okay, Partey and Odegaard for Arsenal, for example. City obviously have, the Fodens, the Bernardo Silvas, etc. Newcastle, Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes. Liverpool, even with their new signings. McAllister. Chelsea, Enzo, Caicedo. Brighton. Enough said. So when you go through all those teams, I've named 5 or 6 teams, all of which have a better midfield, and City, Newcastle, and Arsenal probably even have a better front. No, probably do have a better front line. Chelsea, and Spurs are suspect. Spurs even with their midfield because they bossed us. So we probably have a mid-table midfield. No disrespect to Casemiro, but you can't do it alone. What can you do? And this injury to Luke Shaw further pushes us back. It does, and we're now in a situation where, unlike other teams that come into season, we are now in a situation where we're now to once again makeshift players into positions. Right, Rashford plays on the left. Let's makeshift him to play as a number 9. Right, Dallo is a right back. Let's makeshift him to place him a left back, because I think that's what's going to happen, and I'll talk about it in the preview as well. It is what it is. And this is a good point. One thing I like about Teta, apart from his Lego hair, is how he persisted with his philosophy of play, even when results were bad, unlike all United managers post-Fergie. Yeah. But in fairness, Don Wagner, that also comes from the top to bottom. Okay, because whatever you say, and I don't hear any bored out chanting from Arsenal fans anymore. Like, I don't hear it, even though Arsenal haven't won a trophy, or won on the FA Cup, I guess, but nothing major. I don't hear any chanting from AFT fans anymore. Like, no one watches AFT anymore because it's why? Because the Arsenal fans can see that their board, that their structure makes sense. Okay, there's no Kroenke out anymore because they can see that this board spends money and backs their manager. Like, Arsenal were outspending us the last 3 or 4 seasons. They're backing their manager and their philosophy. That's what they're doing. Hey, you need another centre back? Boom. There's Tim. Like, they signed. I know he's injured, but they signed Timber. You need another centre back. There we go. That's covered for Gabriel. You need a midfielder. We're going to spend that 100 million on Declan Rice to give you that DM. They've got Declan Rice and they've got top Thomas Partey that can play those similar roles. United only have Casemiro. And I think they signed someone else. I can't remember. But those are the main signings. I'm sure they signed somebody else, but I'm trying to remember. It'll come back to me. So the backing is, so the support is there, but the thing with the United board is that, like, they give you that allure of support. Okay, yes, we'll back him in the first window. We'll support, we'll make promises, or we'll give you this. And I'm sure Ten Hag probably had his set of promises on the board. And you can see he's frustrated. It's not going to be a good season. It's not going to be a good season. It's not going to be a good season, guys. I'll just say that right there. I just don't think it's going to be a good season. For those who are watching, I'm not normally negative. I try to be positive. But with this injury news, we're only 2 games into the season, and we have what? How many injuries? Kobe is out. Ahmad is out. That's 2. Luke Shaw is out. That's 3. Mount is out. That's 4. Luke Shaw is out. That's 5. And Manasseh is out. That's 6. If there's a 7th one, let me know. I don't know what is Tom Heaton injured? I don't know. Maybe Tom Heaton might be injured. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Is anyone else that's injured? Marshall, you could argue, probably will be in the next game. So, you've got 6 injuries to players who could easily come into the first team, especially Kobe. And we've not even played 2 games. And I wouldn't be surprised come next week and the week after that you hear, oh, someone else has been injured or someone else has been suspended. It's mad. It's mad. You could play Martinez at left back and play another at centre back alongside Varane. I mean, yeah, you could do that. I'm not necessarily sure whether that'll be what attribute has Martinez done to say that he can play as a fullback? I've not seen him. I mean, apparently he played as a DM, but as a fullback, I've not seen it, to be honest. But I don't know. This is a good shout. Alvaro hasn't gone out on loan, has he? I would give him a chance over Brentford. Yeah, exactly. Maybe give, I think last time I checked, he was going for a loan potentially for Granada, but I wonder whether it has to. You can't send him on loan. You can't send him on loan, surely, because we only have two fit fullbacks in Dallo and Wan-Bissaka. And all it takes is for Wan-Bissaka to get suspended or an injury, and we're down to one fullback. So he can't. They can't go out on loan. Surely he can't. Surely he can't. Like, for me, this is his chance. If I'm Ten Hag, okay, fine, you can play Dallo on the left and start it, but you've got to at least put him on the bench and use him as a rotational. And to be honest, if I were Ten Hag, Nottingham Forest is probably a good way to start. Although Alanga playing obviously does worry me. I wouldn't be surprised if Alanga bags a goal against Manchester United, given what happened. Maguire wants a £12 million payoff from the club to move to West Ham. He did, and to be fair, he's entitled to it. He's entitled to it. It's his contract. To the West Ham club. Well, do you think these injuries might turn out to be a blessing in disguise? I'm not sure what the blessing will be, but let me know. I've read that. Bayern have the same midfield problem. We have Kimmich, Bruno, DM, and Goretzka. Says Goretzka played well, man. I like Goretzka played well, but Goretzka played okay. How much did they gather from the Soul? How much have they gathered from the Soul players so far? Just to work out the mental maths in my head, we're going to react to Ten Hag's press conference by in a second. Actually, I'm going to just bring that up. But just to answer this question before I do that, we got about 50 million for Fred. How much did we get for Fred? No, we got 15 million for Alanga. I think we got about 10 million for Fred, so that's 25. We got about 8 million, I think, or just under 8 million for Tellez. So 25, 10. Sorry, 15, 10, 25. So that's about 32 mil. And then obviously we got about we did get 8 mil for Kovar, who's gone to, I think, Leverkusen, if I recall. So that puts us about 40 mil. And then we got about a mil for Iqbal. Anybody else? That's about it. There might be some others, but the fees will be negligible. So yeah, about 40 million from the sales. About 40 mil. Bearing in mind, the amount that City have, like, whatever you say about the people doing their signings, Arsenal obviously have sold players. Chelsea have sold players. City have made more money than us in players. So there you go. The board want us to. We can't spend. We can't buy before we sell. But the reality is, we can't sell. And we can't sell because our previous CEO decided to give players extortionate wages. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day, guys. If you give a contract, a part of me does think sometimes that, like, instead of going out and buying hyped players from the continent or English players and offering them ridiculous wages, just get up and coming players and pay them 50, 100. That's it, and start there. That's what we should be doing. I know it might be painful initially, but in the long term, it will mean that, like, we don't get shafted. We can actually make money potentially from players or selling players on, than having to be stuck with players that at the end of the day are going to end up running down their contracts because they're not willing to take a pay cut, and then they shouldn't. It is what it is. As soon as that Kimmich. Mar's interested in buy. I mean, yeah, but they're probably not going to pay a lot for him. Start Martial 9 against Forest. I mean, I would do that. But the fact that Ten Hag has left Martial only come on the last not even 10 minutes of games makes me think that the dude isn't particularly fit. and can't be risked for even a half. Like, he's trying to protect the dude, and you can't even play for a half. You know, that's just what I see. On a scale of 1 to 10, how many hags out of 10 would you rate our in-game management since the former Ajax manager took over? So far, probably 6. 6. Yeah, I think Tommy. Yeah, I had a feeling Tom Heaton was injured. Yeah, I think Tom Heaton is coming injured too. Not great with the injuries, but I think Dalo will start exactly. Wait, so who's actually our backup keeper? Dean Henderson? Because obviously he's not gone anywhere. Is Dean Henderson? That's another thing. Is Dean Henderson happy to stay as backup keeper? I don't know. I don't know, guys. Is he happy? I don't think so. If I was Dean, I wouldn't be happy, considering how many times he said he wanted to leave the club. I don't know. You know, we need, like, essentially United need to sign. We actually need to make. If you think about it, we actually need to make 5 signings. We need to sign another goalkeeper and let Henderson go, because you know he's going to be disruptive if he stays. We need to sign a set. We actually need to sign a centre back. We need to sign a fullback. We need to sign a midfielder, and we need to sign a forward. We need to sign. We need United need 5 signings in 6 days, and that's not going to happen. Joke of a club. Chelsea said, "What's up to Luton Town FC?" That is Mr. DT from Hefty 7 Point Club, Luton. Well, the manager's got to go. Well, you know, Luton look garbage, quite frankly. You know, so shouts them coming up to the Premier League, but you know, I think they're going to be swiftly back down. They've not made any signings. They now have to spend money to redevelop their own stadium, which basically looks like, you know, a council estate. I actually don't know where the win is going to come. I can see Burnley and even Sheffield United getting points, but you know, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe against Everton. I don't know, because Everton are crap. But you know, if I was to predict, Everton, Luton Town, and Sheffield United all basically go down. I think Burnley are the team that survive. You know, so yeah, yep, I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, we are linked with a Turkish goalkeeper, but I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, again, linked FC. What's concrete? We've got 6 days to arguably sign 5 players, and I don't doubt that's going to happen. You know. Right. Let's just quickly. I want to just quickly, obviously, talk about Ten Hag's comments, because obviously some of the stuff that we're talking about um, came up on the conference as well. So I think it'd be just good to just kind of um, have a reaction. Well, just go through what Ten Hag said before we quickly do a bit of a preview for the game. And I say a bit of a preview because I'm not particular confidence for this whole thing. Right, 2 seconds. Yeah, there we go. That's better. What's this doing? Okay, let's have a look at his questions. Okay, because I can't play the video. So Manchester United have been under the microscope this week following the conclusion of internal investigation into Mason Greenwood. What are your thoughts on the process and the outcome? Look, we are not where we want to be with our team. I have a lot of work. I have a lot of focus on my team, so I focus on the players that are available. It looks like he's dodging the green thing. He says, he asked, were you expecting Greenwood to be available to you? Did you want him to be? As I said, I only have statements about our performance, our squad, and where we have to improve, because it's clear we have to improve and have to put every effort into getting the team to perform. So it's pretty much just he's asking a fair few questions about Greenwood, to which I don't know what. It's just British media again as well. Like, why not? The funny thing about the British media, right? Okay, is that like they're asking questions, Green. Okay, fine. Like, why not? Why not ask questions like, are you happy with the transfer window? Do you want to get? Do Manchester United need new players to come in, or what's the deal of Harry Maguire? But anyway, with that in mind, has this been a challenging week? You obviously lost 2 important players to injuries on top of everything else. Yes, as in Mount and Luke Shaw, these guys. But that is the situation. It's normal. Top football. You got to, you go to limits, injuries coming up. Of course, it's always disappointing, but you have to deal with it. And therefore, you construct a squad and you deal with it. Can I just ask you throughout this process, have you spoken towards Mason Greenwood? As I said, I focus on the current squad and the players who are available. They really, really wanted to get him to take the bait of Greenwood, but he was like, nah, I'm not taking the bait. I'm not taking the bait, guys. I'm really, really not. Is Rasmus Højlund available? Not for tomorrow. So there you go. There's your confirmation. Højlund is not going to be available tomorrow. But apparently will be available, potentially might be available against Arsenal, which is a baptism of fire. Hey, yeah, throw Rasmus Højlund in against Arsenal away at the Emirates. That'll work. How near is he? Near. Okay. Today was the first game he came into team training. So next week we expect him to do a full week with all the team training. So he's very near to making the squad. So I assume that means that he'll be available for us next week. Make of that what you will, guys. Make of that what you will. Because like I said, do you start him against do you start him against Arsenal? Does he come off the bench? I don't know. I don't know. Erik, in terms of the injuries that you mentioned a moment ago, can you bring us someone on Mason Mount and Luke Shaw and as to what to expect, the problems, and how long it's to expect to be around them? We can't do that as it's personal these days. There will be absences for some period. Luke will be longer than Mason. So basically, to confirm what I said, that Luke Shaw is going to be out for longer than Mason. And we know that Mason Mount was probably not going to be available until at least after the international break. So, like I said, which is I think it's towards the end of September. So he's not going to be here until October sometime. So are you thinking weeks or months? I understand you can't give exact detail from what you said. No, but what I said, Luke will be longer. Mason, I think, will be quicker. Left back, obviously, Tyler Sia. So for Malacia says it will also take a few weeks before he'll be back. So Malacia is not even close. So all weeks are back. So we can't even with these injuries, it's not like, oh, okay, a week out, 2 weeks will be back. This is like weeks, plural. We're going to be out without these guys for a while. And yet Manchester United are doing nothing in the transfer window. They're doing absolutely nothing. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. So do you think you have the solutions in the squad current to cope with that, which is the injuries? Oh, definitely. We have the solution on squad to cope with that. We thought before the season about the scenario, what could happen. You hope to avoid the scenario. That's also clear. But if it happens, you have to be ready for it, and we are ready to deal with it. I'm not sure. I mean, it sounds very... I'm not going to lie, guys. This sounds like I'm reading an Ollie interview, and a Van Gaal and a Mourinho. It sounds very similar. It does. Do you understand why Manchester United fans want to know your position on what's happened with Mason Greenwood? For goodness sake, see, this is what I mean. This is like the 4th question on Greenwood. I get why they're asking it, but it's just like there's not been a single question yet about getting in transfers or even Harry Maguire or anything like that, So, or even the ownership situation, none of that, So, once again, what Manchester United fans expect the Manchester United winning, and I'm responsible for that. I had to put all my effort and my focus in the current players who are available. He's basically repeating what he said 3 other times. I really hope this is the last Greenwood question, to be honest. Dumb British journalist, man. Thinking about the play on the pitch, with Mason Mount injured, that midfield three at times against something looked like it might have been overrun slightly. How are you working to address that? Okay, I think this is where it gets interesting, because I think a lot of us said that, that the midfield was the problem, what's going on, etc., etc. But here's what he says. Here's what Ten Hag says, actually, which I think is interesting. You always have to make critical analysis, and that assessment is not right. It's not about the midfield. Interesting. You always have to make critical analysis, and that assessment on it's not about the midfield. So Ten Hag doesn't actually think the problem is the midfield. It was about the back, and it was about the front. And that's why we were open. Nothing to do with the midfield. But I already said that straight after the game. So in Ten Hag's point of view, it's not the midfield that's the issue. The issue, and to be fair, I get it. If you're going to press and go forward, you need to do it. The forward line has to press. There can't be so big of a gap between midfield and defense. So the defense has to sort of come up, etc. I get that, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think that if you're looking at the midfield, I don't know. I don't know, Ten Hag. I mean, I see a midfield that's unbalanced. That if a player like Fred and even certain extent McTominay comes in, I don't know. This is very Ollie to me. Anyway, last two questions. There were some fans criticizing the fitness of some players. Casemiro got called out a bit. Is he fully fit at the moment? Did he get called out? I don't know who's calling him out. If you see the numbers, you see he's fully fit. Of our fitness, I don't have any doubts. They can do it, but after 35 minutes against Spurs, they didn't do it anymore. But after the first game, we were top, ranked first across the Premier League with fitness state. This sounds. Oh, I don't. Okay. And just on a player who has been linked away from the club, Eric Bay, are you able to tell us anything about potential move to Marseille at all? Okay, so finally, towards the end of the interview, they actually asked a transfer-related question. Why specifically Bay? I don't know. Why not Maguire? But okay, it is what it is. When we have news, we will give it straight away, but we don't have it at this moment, so we can't say anything. I'm not gonna lie, folks. It was a dud. It was a dud. It was a dud. It was a dud press conference, man. And I'm somewhat getting concerned that I'm seeing Ten Hag turn into Ollie Ten Hag by some of these responses, and maybe that's because of a choice. But as I've said at the beginning, guys, the ownership has to change so that the culture changes. And right now, it looks like United are just going to in the process of the United cycle, year 2. Let me know, see what you're saying in the chat, guys, and then we'll probably move on to the brief United view. And obviously, ask your question. This is a Q&A. It's not. It's a United show, but it is a Q&A, not just about United and football. But you can ask me any questions. It's literally just an open and just ask any questions at all. By all means, as long as the questions are appropriate, obviously. You can ask them away. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm just going to breathe this out in a second. Let's have a quick look at some of the comments, guys. I mean, it's not really new though, is it? Is it, Samasi? FPLG says, as an Arsenal fan, do you think we have a chance of winning next weekend? So I mean, wait, as an Arsenal fan, do you think we have a chance for next one? Do you mean do you mean like will Arsenal beat United? Yeah. You're at the Emirates, of course. I'm hoping to preview Regal, we'll see, but I've already, based on our squad and our team, I've already written the Arsenal game off. I've already written the Arsenal game off. I mean, yes, can we do the counter attacking? Probably. I guess Mason Mount not being in midfield, but I mean, for me, it really depends on the midfield. I think if we play Casemiro McTominay, maybe we could do something. Eriksen, we played Eriksen, Casemiro, and Bruno at, I think. No, do we play Casemiro or was it McTominay and Eriksen? I know we played McTominay and Eriksen for one game. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was at Old Trafford. I'm not sure. But you're looking good, and you're at home. Personally, for me, I think that Arsenal have the advantage and probably will beat. In fact, the concerning thing as a United fan is I don't know by how much, and that worries me because when you look at how we played against Wolves and Spurs, any team with proper clinical finishers could have put at least 3 or 4 past us. That's what worries me. And when United lose, we lose badly. Yep, I don't disagree with that. Yeah. There's a sit-in tomorrow. For those obviously going to the game, there is a sitting. So for those, sit in and make a voice known. Rob agrees. Yep, he's been the best signing so far this summer. But when your goalkeeper's the best signing, what does that say? What does that say? What's happening with Ryan Bertrand, man? I mean, I'm obviously browsing Twitter as we speak. You know, Tom hasn't given me any information as of yet. But you know, Luke Shaw could be unavailable until November, says Rob Dawson of ESPN. Well, does that so we need we 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 need a fullback then, don't we? We need to sign a fullback then, don't we? That's what I think. We need to sign a fullback. And according to Fabrizio, he says in the question asked about replacing Shaw, if there are opportunities, yes, but it has to be. This is bad. If there are opportunities, yes, but it has to be the right player. If not, we have to make do with the current squad. If that isn't Ole Gunnar Ten Hag, I don't know what is. If that isn't Ole Gunnar Ten Hag with that statement, I don't know what is. I don't know what it is. And for me, that is United. Like, I thought it would be the third year when this would happen. But the fact that we're hearing this now, guys, I really hope that he lasts the end of the season. Because I have a feeling that if we're not careful, the team will turn on him and he might not last. I hope I'm wrong, but those words don't sound like a manager that's confident about what he has and what he's going to achieve. That sounds like a guy who's like a kind of. Those words sound like hope for the best. We want a bit more quality at the back, more fans. Yep, shout out his voice. What's happening with the takeover? Well, if you tune into our United Forum show on Wednesday, we did a bit of an update around that to Gon, which basically says that there was a lot of fake news before. Ten Hag moving like that's so. How is it not about the midfield? Did he see how many tackles they were missing? Yeah, it worries me. Super Ryan Bertrand says, and big up Ant Man. Head over to his channel and subscribe to less fan channel content. I know he's not. Those are the types of players that Manchester. Bro, we're thinking of giving Johnny Evans a 1-year contract. Those are the types of signings that we're looking for. You know, that's what we're looking for. That's it. Question: what's the best seasons put on chips? Coriander. Let's say Coriander. Yep, don't disagree there. Got Champions League, don't bother investing any more money. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. But the thing is, it's like it's just like, do the Glazers just think that they could just continue? Because at the end of the day, like, we're not Newcastle coming in. Some of these teams are coming in, Brian, etc. Like, they legit think that with what they've done with 10 o'clock, they're going to get. We're not going to be at this rate. We're not going to be getting Champions League anymore. Even though we were going to, United will get the extra place. There's just too many competitive teams. Arsenal aren't going anywhere. Newcastle aren't going to get anywhere. Liverpool are going to improve. Spurs are going to improve. Chelsea are going to improve. And City are always going to be there. We just aren't. We aren't going to be good enough. So I just think it's just, and this is why the whole takeover thing just makes any sense. It's just like, where's this money going to come from? Taking dividends out, like, it's not going to come from anywhere, guys. And a part of me thinks that, you know what? If it takes a dud of a season to get the Glazers to sell, then so be it. Because I still think they believe that United can be successful, they can do well, they can win trophies, they can compete, whatever. As long as Ten Hag's at the wheel, they can do it. But this season will potentially show that that's not the case, and will hopefully force them to sell. Thoughts on the kiss? I'm not even reacting to it. I don't even know. I mean, apparently they want him. They want him. They all wanted to resign or something, and he's like, "I won't resign." It's just mad, isn't it? I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, why did I don't know? It's difficult because the problem is like, is it a cultural thing? Is that what they do? They knew each other. Is that I don't know? Like, is that I don't get it. Um, it's difficult. It's difficult to say because, like, on the one hand, from my perspective, it's inappropriate. On the other hand, I'm like, is it a cultural thing that I'm missing? Or and also it's difficult because like my understanding going into this World Cup is that the Spanish FA as well as the manager were under a lot of heat and a lot of pressure. And I don't think anyone really expected Spain to win the World Cup. So the fact that they won the World Cup, it's like, oh wow. I think that had they not won the World Cup, that it'd have been easier to make a case for the manager and the hierarchy to resign or whatever. But the fact that they did, it's almost like vindication for their decisions, you know. So it's difficult because it's almost like how much of this is um FIFA and how much of this is like you know from the people who wanted them out. I don't know. I don't know. That's my thoughts really. So, but yeah, but it's it's uh it's a very very wild situation. Um, will there be any transfer for United? Johnny Evans and Ryan Bertrand. We're gonna basically we can't buy anybody. All we can get are potentially 1 year contract deals and loans. Those are the players that United can only get. I think the sooner people realize that, the better things will be. If I'm perfectly honest, yeah. Have you seen that in the person part two? That was part two. Um, Oh, yes. This is part one, actually, that I'm reacting to. So, where is the part two? It should be on. Let's have a quick look. Uh, is it been? It's not been written up yet. Oh, this is the video. Yeah, it's not been written up yet, so I've not watched it. So, but yeah, let me know. Let me know what's your what was in it. Be interesting. I've not watched it. But yeah, let me know. And I don't want to play it in case YouTube demonetizes me for because football guys are very very pernickety when it comes to their content, which is a shame actually. Um, I don't trust this club. Yeah, sit in after your tickets that you've already bought. Sounds like a great plan. I mean, you're never going to stop. You can't stop people from buying tickets because Manchester United's a global club. So there are people coming from all around the world. So you're not going to be able to stop people from buying tickets, but you can always make a statement. That's what I believe anyway. Um, as I told you, and Ollie Seven Hack, nothing different, nothing different. How is life in the championship, Durant? I mean, you got to let me know. You got to let me know. Uh, and then also Brighton. I can't put that last comment. Come on, I can't put the last that Forest comment on. And relax. Brian could have. Yeah, I think they will. I think they will. I think they will. Klopp walking. Why is Klopp walking? Busted up Moyes at West Ham equals 10 hack professor. I mean, there is a case, man. There is a case. There is a case. There is a case for Moyes, man. There is a case for Moyes, especially when you look at the signings. There is a case for Moyes. Should Moyes have been given more time? Who knows? Why did United buy? I don't know. I don't know. Although Palestri is a baller, and to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, Don Wagner. Um, I would start. Um, I would start Palestri over Anthony. Ahmad, I think has potential, but he's injury prone at this point. Um, and but yeah, I would if and I'm when I put the formation generator up for I'm going to put you what the formation that what I would pick. I know Ten Hag's not going to pick it, but this is what I'll show you what I would do. Um, Liverpool losing. Oh yeah, Konate being injured is a big blow to them. Evans and Bertrand both want a new contract at Leicester and both told to find a new club. There you go. and Bertrand was injured, he's not played, and Evans. And yet, here we go. They United want them. That's that finish the club we are. Why can't you get AC? Why can't you? AC Milan did, and they are a global club. But yeah, the Italians are different though, man. The way and the majority of fans and its Muslims are Italians, man. They're different, man. They're different. They're different, man. I agree with Amman person. I'm asking why we bought them because they never get any chance. Oh, I see. At any extended one in the team. Well, I don't know. For the amount of money, I don't know. For the amount of money, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. Is it for the future? But you have Sancho. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know for this club, Don Magno. I don't know. We buy players, we make decisions, and then for what? But anyway, let's quickly switch on. Obviously, I'm still answering your question as well, guys. Let's quickly switch to the Forest preview. Obviously, this is a home game. United definitely need to bounce back without a shadow of a doubt. We're at home. We should be winning against the Forest side, who, I mean, to be fair, they look pretty good against. They looked pretty good against Arsenal when Elanga came on, and I think it was only 2-1. So we beat them. I think we beat them twice last season. So even though last season times was tricky, I think looking at their record, they obviously lost to Arsenal away in the first game of the season, but they did come back and beat Sheffield United sort of 2-1. So they can score goals. Chris Wood obviously plays for them, as does Taiwo and obviously Alanga as well. I think Taiwo is the guy I think he's got 2 goals in 2 games actually, which is better than our forwards because it's been 2 games and the only person to score they've scored 3 goals in 2 games, which is more than us. We've only scored 1 goal, and that was from a defender called Varane. So we need to hope that our forwards shape up and do something, because we need them to ball today. We really, really do. It'll be today in about 30 minutes, but we need them to ball. Let's have a look. Coriander on the trips was a good call. Just about to, yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Enjoy it. Sorry for joining us as AD. What's your prediction for Serie A winner? My prediction for Serie A winner, jeez, not Juve. Can Napoli do it again? Inter? AC? Napoli were able to retain some of their key players. I know Kim Min-jae isn't there, but Oshiman, Kavicha, I would put Napoli potentially, to be honest. I think Napoli might be able to defend their title. Especially if their key players don't get injured and they're able to retain them. Yeah, I'd say Napoli. With maybe one of the Milan clubs being close challenger. I don't see Juve challenging or doing much, if at all, this season. So we'll see. Since Luke Shaw joined United 10 years ago, he has missed 198 games due to injuries. That's like 5 full Premier League seasons. Now, I want you to say that from the back, and because there's a lot of Luke Shaw defenders and a lot of people that criticize Eric Bailly, who I do as well, for his injuries, and Martial, but it's just like Eric Bailly used to be like, oh, Barry's injured, he's injured all the time. But Martial and Shaw, because they had moments of brilliance at times, often got a pass. 198 games. There you go. I think that Glazer brother uses his dead bro tail to hypnotize Man United managers to become automatons for their kidney. I mean, the guy that the hair, man, the guy is how, why, I don't know. Right, let's look at the starting lineup, man. So obviously goalkeeper in goal. I think it's gonna be Onana, of course. Oh nah. So Andre is gonna be there. Um, what we're gonna play? Are we gonna play a four? Okay, well, I'm saying this is what I would do. This is what I would do. Um, um, so centre back. I think centre back is obviously going to be easy. You're going to put Lisandro. Ooh, Lisandro. On Lisandro. Then Varane. All sorted. No issues there. Right back, Wan-Bissaka. For some reason, it doesn't actually have his. There we go. Saka there. And left back. Now, would I try Alvaro? Is he even on here? He might not be on here. I don't think he's here. Bug. I don't think he's here. No. Oh no, he is. Alvaro Fernandes, he is. So bear in mind, this is what I would pick. I think he's going to play Dallo instead. But to be honest, I would play over. And the reason why I would do it is because if we're not going to get a left back, we need to give him game time because there's a very big. Because people forget Dallo was also out with quite a long injury after the World Cup. We have injury-prone players in this squad. So for me, you've got to, like I would, but a game against Nottingham Forest at home, when you're expected to beat with the crowd, is the perfect time to start this guy. I generally think it's the best time because you can't. Essentially, what I'm saying is that the Champions League draw is next is this coming week, and if we get injured, if we get an injury, you're now going to be in a situation where Alvaro might be the starting centre back in Champions League games. Okay, fine. You don't play him against Arsenal away. You don't play him against. You play Dallo against Arsenal away, but he needs to play. He needs game time. You need to give him game time. If I was saying like you've got to. Otherwise, we'll be in a situation which I know will eventually happen. Where Dallo will get injured. Wan-Bissaka's injury record is fairly good, so I'm not worried about him. But I would worry about players like Dallo and Eriksen, for example, who I know have had longer injuries and will pick up them. You got to think that way. What are the players in the squad that are likely to get injured? Bruno, I know probably won't. Casemiro, I know probably won't. Wan-Bissaka probably won't. Those it used to be Fred. Those are the three that I'm fairly confident those guys will be okay. But Varane, Dallo, Eriksen, Rashford even, oh no. Let's move on. So CDM obviously Casey Casemiro. Now for me, I would play McTominay. I wouldn't play Eriksen. I would play McTominay and Bruno. I would not play Eriksen. I just think that whatever you say about McTominay, he defensively, and fitness wise, not fitness wise, but pace wise, he's better than Eriksen. Before the World Cup, I would have said Eriksen, but after the World Cup, I've not seen Eriksen play a good game for Manchester United after the World Cup, which was in January. So basically, since the beginning of this year, I have not seen Eriksen play a good game for Manchester United in 2023. Unless someone could tell me, maybe in the chat, someone could tell me when, but I have not seen. I have not seen. I've not seen a good game from Eriksen at all this year. Like either it's been average, below average, or just awful. And for those who watch the final against City, you'll know what I mean. So yeah, that's I would play McTominay. Now here's where things are interesting. Now right wing, Palestri. You got to drop Anthony, man. You got to drop Anthony. You got to drop Anthony. Um, you got to drop Anthony. Um, that's what I think. You got to drop Anthony. Now I would actually. Now I agree on the chat. I would start Martial. This is what I want. I don't think it's going to happen, but this is what I want. I would start Martial against Forest. We need to score goals, you know. And for me, if we start our strongest team, get the goals first. You can take him off after you play him, give him a half. Give him a half of football, 45 minutes, give him a half, and then you can then adjust things. Okay? Left wing for me, you play Rashford. Rashford is best off the left, and him and Martial, whatever you say, have that kind of communication. For me, that's what you do. You know, you can make a case that Sancho could come in. Anthony, for me, like I said, should be dropped. You could play Sancho off the left and play Rashford number 9. But for me, Rashford is not a great number 9. I don't want to see Rashford being in the number 9 position, in my personal opinion. I want to see um, at least Martial starting, and then if you can't play for 90 minutes, you sub him off. You bring on Sancho, and then Rashford could go to 9. Sancho can go there. That's what I would do. So this is the team, the start 11 that I would like, but I don't think Ten Hag is going to pick the starting 11. I don't. I think that he's probably going to pick Dalot to play here. I think it's probably going to pick Eriksen to play here. I think it's probably going to pick Anthony to play here. I think Martial is not going to be in the team. He's probably going to put... Essentially, we're going to have probably the same team as we played against Spurs, with the only difference being that he'll probably bring in Dalot into the squad. And also, Eriksen for Mason Mount. That's what I think personally is going to happen. But let me know your thoughts on this lineup, and also let me know your thoughts, guys, on the score prediction. In fact, I'll put a poll actually in the chat, because I'll put a poll. So score predictions for those who are watching. So win, lose, or draw. Let me know your thoughts. That poll should be there. So let me know your thoughts. Obviously, remember, if like the vid, like the vid, like the vid. If you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you're new. These are weekly Q&As. Obviously, we'll be live for the match reaction. I will be live on Twitch at 3 o'clock tomorrow for the watch along. So we'll be doing a watch along on Twitch. All watch alongs on Twitch. Although I might make some exceptions for some of the big games like Arsenal, for example, next week, and Champions League games, which I'll probably stream to Twitch and YouTube. But general watch-alongs are probably going to be mostly going to be on Twitch. Same thing, match previews as well. Let's quickly look at some comments before we get out of here. Could you see Atlanta getting into the mix? I don't think so. Atlanta are this team where they're okay, but they're not. They never have the depth of squad to be able to compete over a long season. Certainly for a title, so I don't think so. I would start. Although I agree with yep, Riesing exactly. Edmund says needs signings ASAP. Amravati has to happen. Arsenal, assume Amravati has to happen. Arsenal around the corner. My friends will fight for the club. Please do, guys. Please do. Sorry, Amrabat. That's what I was like. Who's Amravati? But it's not going to happen until we sell, unfortunately. Rob says, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I would pick the same lineup as you are. Spot on. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you very much. Like I said, for me, this is it's important that we win. It's important that we win this game. It's important that we win the game. I don't see any point, especially because if we play better in the second half, then maybe I could understand. But the reality is that recently, in both games we played this season, our second half performances have been worse. We've been worse. We were worse in the second half against Wolves. We were worse, much worse in the second half against Spurs. We didn't take the step up a notch. So for me, you start with your strongest team. Go after press Forest. Go after them. Press them. Don't allow them to settle into the game. You put 2 goals past them, maybe even 3 potentially, but at least 2, like we did last season. And then you make your subs. You take Martial off if you want to rest him, and then bring on Sancho Garnacho, and then you use that momentum. That's what we should do. Whether we'll do that or not remains to be seen, though. Yeah, playing our best and only goals from our position again. Yeah, that's the big thing. We can't be this position side where we're in a situation where we're constantly putting, we're constantly putting our players out of position. We should be trying to play our players in the best. All these players that I've picked are in their actual positions. Okay, and the great thing about McTominay is that McTominay can have license to go forward and can actually do something further forward. I actually think it's decent going forward, McTominay. But every player here, generally speaking, is in their preferred position. What we're seeing is Eriksen is going to be here. That's not his best position. Dallo is not a left back. Rashford is not number 9. Why can't we just put in players that are suited for the best and see what happens against Forest of all teams? Palestri's had enough is have enough game time. Get him in and start Alvaro. That's what I would do. So look. Time to back 4-3-2 or back to safety. Shout out to his fighting for his club. Rashford left. Yeah, exactly. Rashford should be on the left, but whether that will be the case, I don't know. I really, really don't know. Right. So yeah, that's what I would say, guys. Obviously, if you have any questions, we're going to go on for like the last 5 minutes or so. So if you have any questions that are not related to Manchester United or in general, just ask them, because I said this is a Q&A. But I use these Q&As as a means to do previews as well as discuss other things related to Manchester United. And when Tom is on, we'll talk transfer news as well. So I'll give you 5 minutes, guys. If you have any other questions, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we'll obviously begin to round up while I have a look at Fabrizio, because I've been refreshing Fabrizio and Ornstein for any semblance of any positive news for Manchester United. But it's not been particularly positive. Unfortunately, it's really not been. Let's see. Let's have a look. I mean, so many players are making some better signings than we are. It's depressing, guys. I mean, they even got the Andrew Santos loan from Chelsea. I mean, yeah, nothing, man. We want a goalkeeper and an offensive player more, but the right profile, one who can play all across the line. It's what we need to provide a team with good balance in different areas. That sounds like a manager who knows he's getting backed. We want a goalkeeper, an offensive player more, but the right profile, one who can play all across the line. That sounds like a manager who's getting backed. What does our manager say? we'll just have to deal with the squad. We'll have to deal with the squad, and if the right player. Guys, if I'm honest, man, I'm worried, man. Rashford is our best best left winger. Yeah, I'm worried, guys. I'll leave with this, guys. Would you be surprised? I mean, my score prediction for this game, by the way, I hope it is 2-1 team Manchester United. But if I'm honest, guys, I'm worried about Manchester United this season. We have 6 days to sign, in my opinion, at least 5 players, and at best, we might get 2 basically washed players on short-term deals because we can't buy anybody. Almost all the other managers that I mentioned in big teams, the top 5-6 teams have been backed and are being backed, and it's supposed not. So, guys, prepare for a long season, man. Prepare for a long season. Anyway, that's all, folks. Thank you guys for tuning in for the Q&A. Remember, if you're new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter and smash that notification button. Plays Manchester News. Oh, Moses with a comment which says, if we lose, there's still a few days left in the transfer window. We can all go. Yep. I might have to go out on loan if we lose against Forest. I might have to go out on loan. I can't take another season of terror. Not even mediocrity. Mediocrity would be like at least just above mid-table. But I mean like actually being pummeled. I can see us being pummeled by our rival teams. I can see us being destroyed by our rival teams. It's not great, but yeah. And thanks, Rob, man. I appreciate it, man. And thank you guys for tuning in. So you guys are the ones that really keep me in the United fan base, because I want to be positive about things, but it's difficult with the way the club is run. But having a small community here does motivate me to continue to work on this channel and do things and stuff. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys. We will have the match reaction at the end of the game. So stay tuned for that. And obviously, members hang out on Sunday. On Sunday, we'll be going ahead as well. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day, and cheers. Peace.